Biyyato Oromiyaa biyya sirna gadaa kan ittiin beekamtu mallattoon si oola anis biyyaan qabaa kan ittiin dhaadadhu biyyato Oromiyaa kan jiruuf abdadhu.
Now, the next presenter, I've known this person for many years. In fact, I've spent several winter holidays in his home in Utah. He attended Haromaya University with my mom, and then we both went to the same school at Utah State University. That's the school that he completed his doctoral studies, and we were Aggies together, albeit at different times. He will talk to us about one of the most important concepts of being a leader is self-awareness. And Dr. Haile will help us unpack that. Dr. Haile is an adult education expert specializing in civil rights, employment, laws, and practices. He's a lifelong learner and a teacher of adult education, focusing on advanced placement, educational systems. Dr. Haile served as trade school administrator, vocational high school agriculture instructor, state fund manager, extension supervisor, World Bank project manager, job course vocational school instructor, job course college coordinator, Department of Labor compliance officer, Department of Labor district director, and commercial capital leadership consultant. Dr. Haile has been an active member of and contributor to the Oromoo diaspora community organizations, including but not limited to OSA, where he once served as a chairperson. It's my pleasure to invite Dr. Haile to the microphone. The floor is yours, and you have precisely 25 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I thank the audience at the same time. My topic of discussion today is about self-awareness. Self-awareness in kuni of baru yookiin immoo of beeku kan jedhudha. And I would like to start with the definition of self-awareness. And the self-awareness is a conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and the desires. All these things are included in self-awareness. And then the self-awareness is the ability to focus on ourselves, on how our actions come about our thoughts, about our emotions, which will align or which will not align with our internal standards. Sometimes we fight with those internal standards. For self-awareness, the most important core of the value is our internal standard, which are sometimes defined and sometimes not. Self-awareness must account for one, what others say or think about us, or how we think and feel about ourselves, and who we really are, and whom we want to be in the future. And these are the characters that we have in ourselves, but out of the four factors that I mentioned here, who we really are is the most important, because most of the time, the problems that we face and we come across is when we do not know ourselves, who we really are. And in the self-awareness area, animals, for example, use self-awareness not to eat their own species, most of them. When they are aware of themselves, then they don't eat their species, most of them. There are some animals who eat their own infants, but self-consciousness helps these creatures. And self-awareness has 4 dimensions. Awareness of what others say and think about us, awareness of thoughts and the feeling we have about ourselves, awareness of who we really are, awareness of who we want to become. And this is mainly the area of definitions that we are going to deal with in case of self. And if you look at this picture is about self-concept. When we start thinking about self-awareness, look at the first picture where a lady is looking at her own self-image. We go to the mirror and we see our face, and that is self-image, what we see in the mirror. And then the other part of us is the ideal self. If you look at the 2 pictures in the middle, you see a lady in uniform who is ready to work, and that is its ideal self that we see in people. And then out of the self-concept, you see the third picture where self-esteem is taking place. If you look at the lady, she has a better self-esteem. But if you look at the African-American born person, you can see how his self-esteem is, because he has already started holding his hands. And this is the way we see it. And then when we look at self-awareness, we have 2 categories of self-awareness. One is internal self-awareness, where we deal with our own values, our passion, our aspiration, and how we fit into the environment. And then the second part is external self-awareness. That is, on the other hand, the ability to see how others view us. And people know how others see us as a typical example. And the leaders who have their employees view them are usually more effective and stronger. They have a stronger relationship because they see how their self-awareness is. And can we improve on our self-awareness? Yes, we do. And there are methods how people usually improve their self-awareness. One is by meditation. Sometimes people, when certain concept comes to their mind, they either go to their room or private place, meditate about the concept that is coming to their mind, or people use journalism. They write down what happens to them, what happens to the environment, what happens to their area, what happens to people who live or the events they come into. They write down those events, and wherever change needs, they go and change through journalism. Or people can go and they talk to people they know, could be their medical doctor or could be their pastor or someone they know. They go and talk to other people and get some recommendation, and through that they can improve their self-awareness. And of course, the biggest method of self-awareness is developing emotional intelligence. And then, how do you know if you are self-aware? if you really understand, you are aware of yourself, how do you know? There are examples given. Self-aware individuals control his or her emotions using a positive outcome of self-awareness, and being able to focus on something positive when they are in negative situation. Being able to recognize bad habits and effect it can have on them. And at the same time, they learn about emotional triggers. What will bring up emotional trigger? What makes them mad? What makes them angry? What makes them use bad words or certain ideas that could affect their future decisions? And then some of the psychologists have defined self-awareness, and some of the best known self-awareness definition is ability to focus on yourself and how your actions, thoughts, and emotions do or do not align with your internal standard. If you are high self-aware, you can objectively evaluate yourself. Your evaluation is possible, but it will be objective evaluation. And self-aware people can interpret their action, their feelings, and their thoughts objectively. In a rare case, emotionally driven interpretation or circumstances could lead to different situations, and developing self-awareness is important because it allows leaders to assess their growth and effectiveness and change course when necessary. It will help them to have practical. Okay, then the other state, there are two states of awareness. One is public self-awareness, and the other is private self-awareness. When it is public, we tend to deal with what others say and how we can adjust ourselves in the social norm, and which makes us behave the way that our society is accepting us. While the benefit of this type of awareness is good, sometimes it has also a danger, because it can lead us into self-consciousness, and we might not be able to move forward. In the area of private self-awareness, then this is our internal state, and we have to, again, be careful. Otherwise, self-conscious people might be reluctant to accept themselves. And because of that, we might get out of reality, and we might not accept the personal, the right judgment. And then there are several benefits of self-awareness. Self-awareness has a lot of benefits because it gives us how to influence outcome. When we are self-aware, we do influence of what will come in the future. It helps us also become better decision makers. It gives us more self-confidence, and when those things happen, we communicate with clarity and intention. It allows us to understand things from multiple perspectives. we don't only judge issues by looking at one face of the coin. We tend to look at both sides. It frees us from our assumption and biases, because our judgment becomes objective judgment. It helps us to build better relationships, and it gives us the greater ability to regulate our emotions that could easily lead us to make judgments. And when we do those kind of things, it will decrease stress, and at the end of the day, we'll make the right decision and we become happier. Then studies have been conducted about the self-awareness gap in the society. Research have been done, and it is only 10 to 15% of the population who feel or who really understand themselves and who have self-awareness. And I think that is one of the problems that we run into when we try to use the definition of self-awareness or about the leadership, about organization, and about all these issues, because in reality, in the society we have, it's only 10 to 15% who are aware. And research have been done in several areas by several psychologists, and because of this situation, we have to be aware, or we need to know that self-aware people are limited in every society. It's not only our society or other people. Positive outcomes of self-awareness. One is growth mindset. When we have self-awareness, we always have the mind of growth. We will look at the future, and we have always room for growth. We don't fix ourselves in one place, and we keep on going. And then the other outcome is, as I mentioned earlier, is there's a self-confidence, because we know what we are looking for, what we are intending to do, and we are going forward with optimism, and our future is brighter, because we know what is going to trigger us, either in a positive or a negative way, and this keeps us in a situation of self-confidence. There are 4 common characters. Once we understand about this self-awareness issue, how do we see in the situation of our country, for example, about colonialism? There are characters, because we are dealing with characters, and in colonialism, the colonialism character is, one is political and legal domination over the alien society or the conquered society, relationship of economic and political dependence. There is economical dependence that is included, exploitation between imperial power and the colony, and racial and cultural inequality. These are the major, these are not only characters that are in colonialism, but these are the 4 major characters that we see in colonialism, what colonialism does on colonized people. And colonizers impose on their subjects their religion, their language, their economic situation, and also cultural practices. Why do colonizers destroy the self-awareness of colonized people? One is to dehumanize the colonized people. They make them, the colonized people are not human beings, so that they can go on and do whatever they like to them. When slavery was going on, the slave people, they were dehumanized and became subhuman, so that the colonizers could sell the slaves, and then the humanized people become objects and become submissive to their masters. When this happens, the colonized group, Galtus and the Gantus, increase by day. Now these people are, when this situation happens, when they become subhuman, in order to fight that inferiority complex, the colonized people, usually their number of Gantus, the Galtus and the Gantus increase, I said. And one example is when there was a time when a slave person was sick and taken to a doctor for treatment. When the doctor asked the slave, where can I treat you, or how can I treat you? The slave person turned around and said, whatever my master said. If my master says, if I have a pain in my leg, and if my master says, get treated on your arm, I will be treated on my arm, like something like that. In Oromoo, they say, "Esa si kobu jennan, lafa goftan ko jedhani." And this is what happened in most of our situation. And what is the correlation between world and Ethiopian colonizers? There is no difference between the world colonizers and Ethiopian colonizers. The difference is just difference of white people colonizing black people. And in fact, there was a person who was witnessing about what was going on in the case of the northern part of Ethiopia, where the rulers were referring to colonized people as Kaigala and Ushankila. No matter what their face looked like, whether if they are Oromos, they call them the Kaigala, and if they are not Oromos, they call them the Kushankila. And that is how...
You have exactly 3 minutes.
Okay. The only colonial empire existing in the world today is the Ethiopian empire. And since all the empires have died, it must go too. Okay. That's okay. Are there self-aware Oromos? Yeah, there have been self-aware Oromos, but in the case of Oromos also, the percentage is close to 10 to 15% because it follows a human trend. Oromos who became aware, they got organized, initiated the Oromo struggle, which led to this inspiration of Oromoo, and currently Sabonuma is flourishing in the Oromo forest. And what do we need going forward? Oromos must be aware of themselves. Oromos must focus on liberation education and focus on self-awareness. Oromoo's struggle is on the right track, but there is a long journey ahead of us. Those who are aware of themselves and those can get organized and lead the Oromoo struggle to the final victory of emancipation. And for those of you who would like to get self-assessment, there are two tools that you can use. You can go and take a self-assessment at www.123test.com, or you can go to my DIC profile.com, and these websites are free. And if you want to see your level of self-awareness, you can go to these websites and verify how aware you are about yourself, and how you will be able to use self-awareness tools to improve your future relationship, or how you organize leaders, or how you can lead different organizations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Haile. Wonderful presentation. I was pleasantly surprised how you tied in, that's my son. I like how you tied in self-awareness into the Oromo struggle. I didn't see that coming. I have a question for the people in this audience. One of the ways to improve, a couple of the ways to improve self-awareness is meditation and journaling. How many of you do meditation and journaling? You don't have to answer it, but I'm really curious to know that. Maybe you can tell us why you come on the mic for your question and comments. I would like to give the chance to the people who hasn't talked. Dr. Mokria, thank you for raising your hand. And then I'll warn you again. I'll give you 2 minutes each. If you go over 2 minutes, I will mute you and call a different person. Dr. Mokria, go first, and then Dr. Nargos, and then Dr. Demse. Mokria, if you.
Thank you very much. While it is an interesting topic, it is something all of us may have thought over or thought about. But my question is, why are some people self-aware and why others are not? What is the source of self-awareness? Is that natural? Is that something we learn? Where does it originate? That is my question, Dr. Haile.
Thank you very much, Dr. Haile. Just take notes, and we'll take one from Dr. Nardos, and we'll continue.
Okay, thank you, Tisho. So mine are maybe comments, but also maybe food for thought. So my first comment is like, so I think I find this really interesting from personal point of view and also leadership. So tying this to leadership, I think self-awareness is very important. It's a very important aspect of effective leadership. And I think one thing a leader should do is practice asking for feedback from those he or she is leading, or at least from a trusted group of people. Because sometimes there could be a disconnect how we see things and how others perceive like our leadership. And I think maybe this is something, it's a good practice. So how do the people that I'm leading see me? Have I lost my luster? So I think this is part of also self-awareness, because like the point is to be self-aware and to have this growth mindset and to improve. So I think the practice of asking feedback, and I think it's very, very important to grow as a leader. And another aspect is like part of self-awareness is also seeing the greatness in others and how they can complement what we are lacking as leader, or what the leader is lacking. And I think a leader cannot sail solo and must have a team who keep the leader honest, so that, you know, that self-awareness is also growing So I think I just want to make those 2 points. Like a leader cannot be solo. So I think a leader should have a team who keep the leader very honest and give honest feedback. And the leader must be should receive this feedback and improve. And one more thing. So another aspect of self-awareness for a leader, and I think, is knowing when to step down and pass the baton. And I think this is very uncommon in Africa, where, you know, leadership is timeless, or it's, you know, it has no time limit. So, and as people, or as, you know, how do we hold our leaders accountable when they fail to do that? Because sometimes there could be a time component to this leadership, and a leader should know. If a leader is self-aware, I think they will know when to step down and say, okay, you know, this next person can do this better than me, and I should pass the baton. So I just wanted to make those points. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nardos. I kind of like how things are tying into each other, things of growth mindset and developing future leaders and things of that sort. Please, Dr. Dempsey, next.
First of all, thank you, Dr. Haile, for that very nice presentation. I have just one question. I mean, in one of your slides, it says data shows 10 to 15% of Oromoo people. I'm not sure. Maybe are self-aware, whereas nearly 90 to 85% are not. And then, I mean, this is devastating. I mean, the way I understand it is a bit different, especially the Kube and the Kero generation. I'm considering them as self-aware, whereas the data speaks at different findings, especially the curriculum is really, I mean, it is shaping this young generation. So where does that finding and research comes? And just if you keep us, I mean, thank you.
Thank you. Let's take one more, Dr. Haile, before you respond. Let's take it from Dr. Gamachu, and then you respond collectively. Interesting questions coming up in comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Tisho. Dr. Haile, thank you for your presentation. My question is, the self-awareness sometimes confused or interpreted with the racism, like the Oromoo, when their self-awareness of Oromuma is interpreted as if they are isolating the others. Well, how do you see the relation between self-awareness and racism? Thank you.
Only is a great question. I like how precisely you asked that question, and that's the practice that I hope all of us will, not just for this presentation, but for the future. Thank you. Dr. Haile, respond, and then we'll give it to Dr. Hambisa for next round of questions.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. Dr. Makuria, baay'ee fayyaa ta'e, self-awareness in natural damo kan baratanidha kan jette. Self-awareness in kuni keessumaa kan keenya kan Oromoodha. Oromoo akka hin taaneetii fi diinatu nurratti hojjechaa ture keessumaa waggaa 150. Kanaafi Oromoon akka inni aadaa qabu, akka inni amantii qabu, akka inni biyya qabu, akka inni nama ta'e, akka inni resources hundumaa akka inni qabu wal dhaalchisaniitu ati homaan beektu, ati doofaadha, ati garba, ati namaa gadi jedhanii isa inni ittiin dhalate internal self-awareness isa namni tokko yeroo eega dhalate kaasee qabu akka inni isa developing gooneetii fi akka inni nama jalatti gadi galee ani nama jedhe akka inni hin adeemne yaadattu yoo taatan bara Haile Sillaasee keessa uffata gaafa facaasaa tiriit show kan jedhamutu jira. treat show sana keessatti Oromooni uffata qulqulluu uffatee hin dhiyaatu. Oromooni gogaattuu isaniitu dhiyeessu turan. Yeroo warra Habashaa dhufan garuu wayyaa bareedaatti uwwisanii maal fakkeessaniitu bukkee qabanii agarsiisu. Kanaatiif namni dhaqeessa taa'ee ijoolleen akka isa ilaalanii ba'anii achi yeroo gadi ba'anii ani Itoophiyaadha jedhu malee ani Oromoodha ofiin hin jedhan. Akka isaan ani Habashaadha akka isaan ofiin jedhani akka isaan garbummaa isaanii sanatti akka isaan amananii fi namaa gadi gochaa turan. Isa kanatu self awareness sana nu keessatti ajjeesaa akka inni gadi qabamu gochaa ture. Inni kun amma ol ka'aa jiraa jedhee isinitti jira. Namoonni xinnoon yartuu ta'aniin jalqabee yeroo qabsoon Oromoodhaa yookiin kaayyoon Oromoodhaa hundeeffamu kaasee barachaa jira namni keenya karaa adda addaadhaa ol adeemaa jira waan kun. Kanaaf waan isaa dubbiin self awareness kuni it is not waa'ee naturally jiraataadhaa fi immoo baramaa isaa duwwaa kan ta'ini isa nu keessa jiru sanatti self awareness dhugaa nu keessa jiru sanatti nu keessatti ajjeesaa turanii. Kanaatiif isa kana deebifnee iddootti qabachuutu nurra jira kan jedhudha. Inni gara biraani namoonni keessumaa kan keenya Oromoon self aware ta'anii yaada isaan wal duukaa fudhatanii ka'anii gar tokkotti luuchaa. Yeroo waa'ee isaanii sirriitti barame yeroo waa'ee isaanii warri sirriitti baranii ka'an kuni yaada isaanii tokko ta'eetu waan tokko irratti qabsoo godhu jechuudha. Kanaatiif hojii isaan hojjetan suni yookiin immoo gara fuulduraatti waan isaan deeman suni wal fakkaachuutti deebi'aa jechuudha. Waan Naardos jette fiidbaakii argachuun baay'ee barbaachisaadha. Fiidbaakii sana yeroo kan argachuu dandeenyu immoo namoonni self aware kan ta'an Oromoonni akkamittiin jiru self aware yoo ta'ani leader isaanii waan akka gurmaanitti akka organizii ta'anitti hojii hojjetan irratti hojii bobba'an irratti fuula duratti adeemuu hin danda'u. Amma har'a fudhadhaa fakkeenyaaf woboo keessa kan jiranii akka dhageenyutti akka ilaalaa jirrutti baay'een isaanii maroonii dura buutuu wobooti isatu geggeessaa jiran kan duukaa bu'anii har'a lola gubbaa jiran jiru. Innaa isaan kana keessaati yeroo ammaatti eenyutu dhuguma yaada nama tokko duukaa luucca'ee self aware ta'ee hojii kana gubbaa hojjechaa jiraaf hin jiru. Garaagara baafnee hubachuudhaatii fi baay'ee rakkisaadha. Maaliif biyya keenya keessatti har'a research hojjechuu dhiisaatii information ammayyuu argachuun baay'ee rakkisaa waan ta'eef feedback isin argachuu isaa rakkisaa baay'ee cimaadha. Garuu hojii isaan hojjechaa jiran irratti utuu beela'anii utuu madaa'anii deemanii hojii isaanii kenname sana hojjechaa jiraachuun isaanii feedback bakkeedha ilaalaa jirudha malee keessa seenamee dhaqamee feedback isin argachuu hin danda'amne. Ammaa fi garuu gara fuulduraatti baay'ee barbaachisaadha. Duukaa bu'umsa nu barbaachisa. Egaa kun karaa feedbackidha kan dhufuudha. Kanatti aanee warri liidaroonni yoom akka isaan waan itti kenname dhiisanii kan isaan barbaachisutti yoom darbu isa jedhuutiif yoo self consciousness keenya kun self awareness kun ol ka'ee jedhee gara gadaa sistemiitti deebina. Gara gadaa sistemiitti deebinee jennaani term limitiin liidaroota keenyaadha waggaama 8 ta'a jechuudha. One term 8 years itti yoo deebine or for that matter could be only 5 years one term ta'uu danda'a. Gaafa self aware taanee mootummaa mataa keenya arganne gara sanatti deebi'uun baay'ee rakkinaan qabu. Garuu nuyi kanarratti fookasii goonee like minded people yookiin immoo namoota waa'ee ofummaa isaanii warra oromummaa isaanii warra baran kuni qabsoo kana gara fuulduraatti adeemsisuu jalqabanii jennaan isa kana bira ga'uudhaati baay'ee nu rakkisuu kan jedhu yaada qabaa.
Please make it a little more concise, Dr. Haile, but continue.
Okay, isa Dr. Damiseni percentage 15 jedhu sana data nama qeeroo irratti funaadamee data kana baasin jiru garuu linkii sasni kenne sanaatiin deemtanii yoo gaaffii iddoo tokko tokkotti gaaffii 48 jira gaaffii 48 sana deebiftanii gaaffii sana keessaatii hammam akkasin argattan percentii isa kam keessa akkasin jirtanii garaagara baasee isinitti himaa ilaaluu hin dandeessu namoonni na keessa jirtan iyyuu kana fudhachuu hin dandeessu teestii kana fudhachuu hin dandeessu jechuudha. Malee isaatii qeeroo irratti warri qeeroodhaa self awareedhaa kan jedhu suni kan teestii ta'ee baay'ee hin jiru ammaatii fi gara fuulduraatti garuu ilaaluu hin danda'amu. Warri bakkee jiru garuu tuuliin isinii kenne sanatti dhimma ba'aatii hammam akka self aware taatan ilaaluu dandeessu. Kan obbo Gammachuun jedhee racismii dha self awareness kan inni jedhu suni inni racismii kan nurratti hojjechaa jiru warra bashaati warra diina keenyaati. Self awarenessiin waa'ee keenya ofii keenya of baruudha. Waa'ee keenya of baruudha. Isaan garuu akka nuyi ofii keenyaaf akka of hin barreetii fi yoo of barree kaanee falmannaa kaayyoo keenya duukaa buunaa oromummaan sabboonummaatti jijjiirameetu diinni keenya akka taane baruu dandeenya jechuudha. Isaantu akka yeroo nuyi ofii keenyaaf of barre yeroo jennu waan keenyaan dubbannu yeroo jennu aadaa keenya guddifnu yeroo jennu biyya keenya risoorsii keenyatti abbaa taana yeroo jennu yoo kana hin taatanii akkasin iddoo sana hin geenyeetiif immoo nuyi isinii maqaa balleessinee reesistiidha isiniin jennee isin warra gosaati isiniin jenneetu maqaa isin balleessinee akkasin walitti hin dhufnee akkasin ofii keessa of hin barre isin goona jedhaniitu nurratti hojjechaa jiru malee self aware ta'uun ofii baruudha. Waa waaqayyo ittiin si uumee si kaa'ee ofii kee baruudha malee waa'ee nama jibbuudhaa miti waa'ee reesizimii yookiin immoo waa'ee qomoodhaan daddaboo miti dubbiinsaa. Kan akka kanaatti akka fudhannu maaliif akka nuyi self aware hin taaneetiif diinni nurratti hojjechaa jira jechuudha.
Thank you very much, Dr. Haile. I appreciate it. Next, Dr. Hambisa and Zell, you guys have 1 minute each. And then if there's a response needed, Dr. Haile, please respond to each one of them with 2 to 3 words. Words, not sentences. Go ahead, Dr. Hambisa.
Ani gaaffisa hunduma keenyaaf utuu ta'ee fudhannee galle jedhee yaada. Sila Naardos kan isheen gaafatte have I lost my luster jennee of gaafannu kan jedhu gaaffee turte. Ani immoo gaaffii nan qabu I think colonialism kun waa lama nurratti godhe. Tokkoffaa isa nuyi qabnu sanayyuu nu dhabsiise. Lammaffaa immoo kan dalgaa kan isaanii isa dalga ta'e immoo nu barsiise. Kanaaf waa'ee leadership keenya waa'ee mataa keenya yeroo yaannu it's not really style keenya kan keenyatu bitaa jira miti. Kanaaf probably eessatti safe space bannee namni tokko sodaa malee yaada isaa akka inni ibsatu akka inni dhokate sun akka ba'u gochuu danda'ama isa jedhu gaaffiin koo fayyaa ta'a.
Q Zell.
Okay, galatoomii Tisho. An kollega Babaadha. Dr. Haile fayyaa ta'e presentation bareedaa ture. Waa'ee self awareness ana kan kaafnee fi hooggansa wajjin walitti hidhameef namni ofiisaa beeku hooggansa gaarii kennuu danda'a isa jedhamurraati. Hooggansa kennuun immoo of beekuu ofuma ofii isa introspectionidhumaan of beekuu qofaatu hin ta'in akkatti namni alaa nama ilaalus beekuu barbaada waansaa natti fakkaata. Yoo ofii keenya introspectionidhumaan waa'ee keenyaa barree self awareedha jenne hammam namoota geggeessuuf nu gargaara laata. Namoota geggeessuuf akka isaan itti nu ilaalanis namoota geggeessuu jechuun obviously wanni jechaa jirru kaayyoo tokko irratti namoota hojjechii wajjin hojjennu qabna. ilaalcha tokko qabna asirratti hojjennee waan sana bakkaan geenye inni deemnu yoo ta'e isaaniin geggeessine yoo ta'e akka isaan itti nu ilaalan isoo barbaachisaadha. Eessa laa baalansiinsaa akka nuti itti of ilaalluu fi akkatti warri nuyi geggeessuu yaallu kun nu ilaalan gidduu eessa laa baalansiinsaa yeroo hundumaa walitti walirraa completely overlapping godhuufan jedhe yeroo tokko tokko. Dr. Haile qofaaf miti hundumaaf iyyuu waan irratti reflectii gochuu qabnu natti fakkaata fayyaa ta'e.
Thank you very much, Dr. Haile. Two words for each if you have any response to that.
Dr. Ambisaan illee koomentiidha kan inni kenne fayyaa ta'e gaasa irratti hojjenna. Inni Zalaalam jedhe baalaansiisaa kan keenya gara negatiivitti jijjiiran. Isa isaan kan keenya gara negatiivitti jijjiiran sana kan keenya sana positiivitti fudhachuu nurra jira. Kan diinni immoo isa kan keenya balleessee gadheedha jedhe sana immoo akka inni gadhee hin taane sana deebifnee barsiisu nurra jira jechuudha. Baalaansiin isaa achi gubbaatti isa kan diinaa isa diinni nuun jedheetii fi isa nu ofii qabu sana garaagara baafnee baruutu nurra jira jechuudha. Amma fakkeenyaatiif waa'ee afaan daa'imuu fudhannee yeroo afaan Oromoodhaa guddisuu nurra jira jennu isaan immoo lakkii afaan Amaaraadhaa guddiftanii biyya Itoophiyaa guutuutti ittiin haasoftu sababa kanaatiif afaan Oromoodhaa jettan dhiisaatii afaan Amaaraadhaa isa Sidaamoo keessattis Tigraay keessatti ittiin dubbachuu dandeessanii afaan Amaaraadhaa baradhaa jedhaniitu akkaataa kanaatti nutti dhufu jechuudha. Nuyi garuu afaan Oromoodhaa aadaa Oromoo kan jedhuutiini isa kan Oromoodhaa san positiivli fudhannee isa isaan immoo micciiranii fidanii afaan nu kaa'uu barbaadan namaa gad nu gochuudhaaf isaan kaasan immoo kireetiin sun sakanfaa akka isaan ta'an barree nama keenyatti himnee hin ta'u jennee dura dhaabbachuu.
Thank you very much, Dr. Haile.